Hey everybody, this is Wes again. In case you have missed my previous videos, in a little over a week I'll be starting a through hike of the Colorado Trail. And I wanted to take just a couple of minutes here and kind of go through and show you some of the equipment and gear that I'll be taking. First, I guess the thing that's probably one of the most important things is my shelter or my tent. I have chosen for this adventure a Durston X-Mid 2. The 2 stands for two-person. When you're talking about hiking and backpacking tents, typically, even though it's a two-person, it fits one person comfortably with a little bit of gear. Two people can get in it, but it's a little bit cramped. One of the good things that I like about this particular tent is it has a very huge vestibule, and I'll show you that in just a minute. So there's actually enough room to get under the cover for you can leave your pack and your dirty shoes and everything else on the outside of the inner lining of the tent, and so that there's more room and you don't get your tent messed up as much on the inside should you choose to do so. So here's the tent itself. You'll notice it's kind of an odd shape. It has a different footprint than a lot of other traditional tents. It's not squared off, and that's because I'll show you the reason why in a minute, but you have the option of using trekking poles as your tent stakes, and the way that the shape of the tent allows for the tent poles to be out of the way of the opening of the inner part of the tent. Just a quick walk around on this. Basically both sides are the same. The tent itself has 2 entry points. One that on the side we just went around, and then the other one is here, which is open. This zips up and down, so you get a uniform appearance all the way around. Again, this is the Durston X-Mid 2. The tent weighs about 2.5 pounds-ish, which is really good, and there's no tent poles, so you don't have to worry about the extra weight of the tent poles. You just use your trekking poles that I would normally have with me anyway. So let's take a look at the inside. One feature that I didn't mention on the outside of the tent that I really like, has a flap here. It has a little hard piece that goes in that actually holds that out, so you can get more ventilation. If it's colder, you can close that down, and you can warm the tent up, but it really helps with condensation on the inside of the tent, especially when it's humid and not great weather. So now we're going to go inside the tent. Let's get it open here. Like I say, both sides are the same. One feature that I like also is when you roll these up, it has a magnet connection that holds the flap back, so you don't have to worry about tying things back, and it's a little more comfortable to do it that way. Inside, what I didn't mention about this tent, it is what's called a double wall tent. It has a separate inside. If you look around, you can see the outside is separate from the inner side. This helps a lot with condensation also. It has what's called a bathtub effect. You look at the way that does, keeps the moisture from coming in over the top. And as we go inside, I'm actually going in a little bit backwards, what I plan to do. You can see I've got the one side, you can tell there's not really a lot of room in there for a lot of extra stuff here. So I'm going to open up the other side and try to get some ventilation going through, so I can go in and kind of show you the inside features of the tent. Again, I'm gonna open this up a little bit. And in the vestibule, you can see there's plenty of room in this area here that I could actually put uh, my wet shoes and my gear and everything. This is just a cheap tarp that I bought at Dollar Tree, I think, for $1.25. It's very thin, very flimsy, and very light. I'm not sure if I'm going to take it, but I think that I am. Just makes life a little bit easier. Help keep some of the dirt out of the tent. So inside the tent, I've got it set up. You can see I can sit up very nicely. Plenty of headroom over the top, so I've got plenty of room. A few features of this that I really, really like. On the inner, like I said, the inside wall is mesh, and so you can open up the outside if it's hot and get some ventilation in, but keep the bugs out with the bug screen. To my left right here, there's a pocket that I can put things like my glasses or whatever I want to sleep with or not sleep with and have access to quickly. There is also if we look at the top, there's another little pocket up to the top here that you may or may not can see real well with the lighting as it is. But basically you can store stuff in that too, or put wet socks and whatnot. Another feature that didn't come with the tent per se, but they give some little tabs that you can actually tie a piece of string to. I actually have a piece of paracord here, and this is really good because I know that there's going to be times on the trail where I'm going to be wet, either from the weather or from my own personal perspiration. So we want to try to get things dried out as much as possible, at least start a new day fresh with dry clothes. And that's pretty much the tent itself. The pockets that I mentioned on this side are mirror image. They have the same pockets on the other side. You'll notice that, like I mentioned before, I use my trekking poles to set this up with. Apologize for the camera work, trying to work sitting down, but like I said, those are just my trekking poles that's set up. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about my sleep system. I use 3 pieces as far as the bedding that I use. I have a blow up Climate Static 5. Doesn't have a very high R value, probably I think 1.3, but I combine it with a closed cell foam pad that I've actually had for years. This was I think I probably got it at Walmart 15 years ago maybe. I've cut it down a little bit to cut some of the weight out. I don't need a whole lot on it, but it's adds to the R value a fair amount, which makes it a more comfortable sleep. It also allows me to deflate the air mattress to where it's not so firm that it's uncomfortable. In addition to that, I use a little blow-up pillow. One of the problems that a lot of hikers I've seen in the past have talked about is that when you get in your sleeping bag, that tends to move a little bit. So I've come up with a little way to fix that with an old t-shirt. I don't know if I can do this one-handed, but basically what I do is take the t-shirt out and put it over the top of the air mattress along with the and then I stuff the pillow underneath it. While I'm thinking about it, I hold the 2 mattress parts together with, so this is an elastic band. Again, I don't know where I got that. I've had it for years, and it just happened to be perfect for what I use it for this. right, I'm gonna turn the feet off just for a second and come back and show you the finished product. So basically what I've done is just slide the t-shirt over the air mattress. I'll take my pillow and slide it up in there, and that gives me a nice comfortable place to lay my head. As you can see, I can lay comfortably and the pillow doesn't slide away. I have a mummy sleeping bag, which I'll pull out in just a minute and show you and let you know how that works. Okay, so the last part of my sleep system is the sleeping bag. For this trip, I have chosen an REI Trail Made 20-degree sleeping bag. That rating, 20 degrees, will keep you alive down to 20 degrees. The actual comfort rating is 30 degrees, but you can wear a little extra clothing or whatever and you can bump that on down. I don't anticipate getting very many very cold nights on the trail, being August, July, late August, late July through late August, but it's there if I need it. I'm hoping to get a sleeping bag liner to go with it to help keep it clean inside and also add a little extra comfort rating temperature wise. It is a mummy sleeping bag. I did get, as you can see, I got the wide width. I had actually gotten the regular width and got in it and I felt like I was being smothered. This one gives me a lot more room to move around a little bit and stay comfortable. Mummy bags aren't for everybody. Some people feel very restricted in them. At some point in time in the future, as I can afford it, I would love to switch to a quilt system. You can get a whole lot lighter materials with down, and they take up less room. It's just a really nice, and it's easier. It's not, you're not encumbered by the being in the bag. This sleeping bag, however, is a synthetic fill. I really prefer, when I can do it, synthetic over down, because if you ever get the down wet, it takes forever to dry and it loses all of its heating capacity. With the synthetic down, even when it's wet, it still provides some protection from the cold. The trade-off is it's a little bit heavier. This sleeping bag comes in at just under 3 pounds. So between the pack and my sleeping system, I'm looking at about 10 pounds total. Okay, so the third part of the big three, as it's considered by most hikers, is the backpack itself. I chose for this a Flash 55. It's an REI co-op model. REI is a good known brand, good quality brand, and it speaks for itself. And I've known several people who have this and also have seen videos of others who have it and love it. So I've decided to use this one. It's a good price break compared to some of the others. You can spend as much money as you want on a backpack. I've seen backpacks, well, actually you can spend as much money on all the systems that I've shown you so far, the sleep systems and the tent. You can spend a couple of $1,000s easy on all these if you got the money to spend and choose to spend it on that. I had to opt for a little more economical versions, affordable. But this, a few features of the pack itself, it open it up here, has a large opening in the top Basically, I have a inside. You see the white there. That's a compactor bag that I use to put my sleeping bag in so that it does stay wet. This pack is not waterproof. It's slightly water resistant, so it's going to help a little bit. But when it gets really wet out on the trails, there's no such thing as waterproof. Um, so I like this. It does have a back section there that if you chose to do a hydration bladder, you can do that as well. I don't usually use that, um, and I'll show you why in just a second. Some of the pouches and pockets, this is on the very back. It's a big open pocket. You can put some stuff in there to carry that won't fit inside your tent, or you don't want to put inside your tent. Some side pockets that for stuff that you want to have accessible. You don't have to open everything up. Like I have in this pocket my toilet kit. We'll talk about that in another video. And then also on the other side, I keep a raincoat, and I also keep um, any items that small that need to go in there that I can carry. On the side, there's two side mesh pockets here, and I'll carry my water bottles in that. I have two there, and then I also have a water bottle holder on that fits on my um, strap as well. That does not come with a pack. I bought that separately. This particular one is from a company called Chicken Trapper. It's a really good one. This is a sized. You can adjust the size to fit you. I have it to fit me, and if somebody else were to use it, they'd need to readjust it. Um, it has a brain, which is the top piece. In that, I keep some rain gear and a jacket and my flashlight, headlamp, just a few items that I need to be able to access where I don't want to open up the whole pack and to get everything out should I need it. Very nice padding on the back. I've worn this several times, and it's a very comfortable pack. It ventilates relatively well. Your back's gonna get your back's gonna get sweaty, but this mitigates it quite a bit. And that's the pack, the Flash 55 from REI. And one of the things I mentioned in an earlier video talking about the vestibule on this tent, you can see there's plenty of room. If everything's wet and dirty and you don't want to put it inside your tent, you can actually set it in the vestibule here. A very large vestibule will hold your pack and a lot of other stuff actually too. And then that way it's out of the weather, but it's also out of your tent. So you've got more room. I typically, unless everything's really messy or anything else, I typically will put the pack inside the tent with me, because that way I have access to everything. Then I can take it all out and let it breathe, and then air it out for the next day's travel.